Hey, what's going on? This is Jerry Fetta, owner, founder, and CEO of the Wealth Dynamics brand. I'm coming to you today with a quick video to talk about how to build wealth with real estate. For those of you that have assets, you've got high incomes, I want to talk about how do you build income, reduce your taxes, and use leverage as well so that you've got $5 working for every $1 that you have. Now, before we do this, I want to let you know at the end of this video, I'm going to have a special offer for you on our In the Arena bootcamp. That's going to be June 3rd. Okay, June 3rd from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's the first Saturday of June. So be sure you watch to the end. And then I'm also gonna give you a special tip on how to find the right properties with the real estate we're gonna talk about today. All right, so Tuesday tips. If you've got money and assets right now, let's say that you've got at least $100,000 built up, you're earning six figures, you've got a tax bill problem, or you wanna reduce your taxes. If that's you, whether you're a W-2 employee, an entrepreneur, a business owner, it doesn't matter. I want to give you one of the wealth building tools that the wealthy have actually used for centuries, and still to this day, it's used by some of the largest banks and institutions to not only generate passive income, but build wealth, offset taxes, okay? So this is real estate. Right now, this is a type of real estate that you've probably not heard a lot about. This is not multifamily apartments. This is not investing in someone else's fund. This is doing it the way that banks and hedge funds are doing. Okay, so if you go Google BlackRock Capital, okay, BlackRock is a gigantic fund in the United States. They're currently, in the last couple of years, buying up the majority of the single family homes in the areas that they're targeting, and they're turning those into rentals, right? Now, I wanna tell you how you can get involved in the same way. Now, if you're like me, you're a business owner, or you're just a high income earner like I am, you're looking at your tax bill and you're like, man, I don't wanna be paying this much in taxes. How do I reduce this? Right, you're looking at all the work you do, and yes, you enjoy it, but you're like, I would like to have passive income so that I know this is coming in whether I work or not, right? And you're looking at the money that you've got saved, and you're like, with inflation, like I really want to have this growing for the long term, and you want to get there faster. If you're like me, you're fast. You want to use fast, but you also want to use proven, okay? Now, here's the thing. Proven and fast actually go together. There's this misnomer that in order to go, with something that's steady, you've got to go slow. Actually, when you use proven methods, systems that are actually like historically they've got a track record, the knowledge is there on how to do them, it's all organized and worked out, you can actually go faster, right? Slow actually is when you're guessing, right? If you go slow, if you're guessing and you're trying to figure out this and figure out that and learn this and learn that, that's when things go slow. So this is a very fast system. So it's called turnkey residential real estate investing. Residential means you're looking at 1 to 4 units. Right, we're not getting into multifamily, right? We're not getting into, and we're also not doing buy a unit to live in it and rent the other ones out. We're gonna buy properties that are turnkey, okay? Now, turnkey means two different things. There's turnkey from an actual property standpoint. Turnkey means that there's already a tenant occupying that unit and it's cash flowing, and there's already a property manager that's successful and been vetted, and they're already doing all of that work for you. Right, the reason up until now that I've never gotten involved in real estate as a rental is I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want people calling me at 3 in the morning saying the toilet broke. I don't want to deal with collecting the rents, right? And on the flip side, I had a very bad experience investing with private funds last year. Okay, I lost the majority of my net worth because I invested in private funds that people that I trusted controlled. And so that's really when I'm a real estate investor, I'm either looking at, I want to jump into, doing rental properties, and I'm now going to be a landlord, and I'm going to have a part-time job where I do construction and cleaning and debt collection and, dealing with tenant complaints, or I'm going to go into a fund and trust someone else to do that. Okay, and so I went the fund route, and it didn't work out well for me at all. And the people that I was investing with had a very strong track record. I knew them for a long time, and so I had to look at, okay, what do I do instead? Right? Because I don't want to go learn apartments. Right, you hear, go do multifamily. That's cool, but if you're running a business and you're already working 60 hours a week, why do you want to go learn how to do apartments? Right? Why do you want to learn how to go find deals and compete on a letter of intent and win contracts and have the other 10 people bidding against you and then deal with lenders and then deal with having to find a property manager? I don't want that experience, and I also don't want to trust someone else to do a good job, because my track record with funds up to this point has shown that they don't do a good job. Right, they're ripe with fraud, and they're ripe with a lot of lack of transparency. So I don't want that experience. I want something that's in the middle. And so for me, turnkey real estate investing was that. So here's how it works. It's turnkey, like I said, tenants in it, it's cash flowing, there's already a manager. Okay, so think about that. It's like I have this asset that's there, and so what that allows me to do is take money and deploy it Okay, as long as I've got at least $20,000, $30,000 as a minimum, I can get into turnkey, right? And so you're gonna use that money as a down payment. And the beautiful thing about this is I've got cash flow, okay, passive income from the property, and it's truly passive. I'm not, going to do anything with that property other than review statements, pay for things when it's needed and sign off on the management team's decisions. That's it. That's the extent of my involvement in a turnkey property. Okay, so I've got passive income, but I've also got appreciation. Okay, depending on the area you've looked at in the country, if you look at, the appreciation on residential real estate in the last number of years, it's gone up by quite a bit, all right? And historically, you're looking at probably a 5 to 6% appreciation rate, and that's in addition to the passive income that I'm gonna get. Okay, I've also got something on real estate that I don't get with other assets, and that's called depreciation. Depreciation means that I can take the price of that building and I can write it off. Even though it's appreciating and going up in value, the tax code allows me to write off the value of that building spread out over a number of years against the income, and I can even use that loss, if I've created a loss, against my active income. So those that are high W-2 earners, like, this is great for you. If you're a doctor, if you're a dentist, if you're an attorney and you're making $300,000-$400,000 a year and you're like, how do I lower my tax bill? I'm not a business owner. Real estate's the way to do that. Okay, you have accelerated depreciation and you also have something called cost segregation. Okay, cost segregation allows you to take, fixtures on the property that aren't part of the actual property itself and depreciate those on a faster schedule. Let's say you've got a furnace, or you've got, a fence in the backyard or something of that nature, and you're like, hey, this is gonna depreciate much faster than the property itself. You can accelerate that even quicker and get a higher tax write-off and reduce your W-2 income through those real estate losses. So I've got passive income, I've got appreciation, I've got tax benefits, right? And then in addition to that, I've got leverage. Okay, leverage means, when I said the minimum was 20 or 30,000, I'm using that as a 20% down payment. Right, a 20% down payment means I'm gonna finance the difference, right? So 20% is 1/5 of the property price, which means for every one of my dollars that I put into the property, I get an additional 5 from the bank that are gonna go to work and earn passive income for me. That's leverage, right? So not only do I have the leverage, I also have debt pay down. The tenants are paying down that debt. I get passive income every month that's gonna pay down that mortgage. In this case, we're not gonna use a mortgage either. We're gonna use what's called a first position home equity line of credit. Okay, this is what banks do on commercial deals and investors do on commercial deals. They do interest only. And so if we do this on a line of credit with a single family, we get really high cash flow. We can deposit that rental income into that principal on the home equity line of credit, pay the loan down aggressively, and then borrow it back out tax-free to do another deal when we're ready to, right? So really, this is like a superpower investing strategy, and it's very similar to the sacred account. If you've watched any of my videos on the sacred account, you put money into life insurance, you get dividends, you get earned interest on it, you get to borrow against that as well, tax-free, and you get to do all this stuff with the real estate, plus you get the tax deductions on the front end, right? So here's my strategy. If I'm a high income earner, I'm looking at, okay, I wanna have my debts taken care of for sure, I wanna have my reserves, I wanna have my sacred account funded, but I wanna start getting into this real estate game, because that's gonna lower my tax burden. When I lower my tax burden, that frees up money that I can then invest further, right? So let's say we do, real estate investing with you, we do cost segregation, we get your tax bill down. Those savings could potentially be, if you've got a high enough tax bill, this saving on your taxes could be the down payment on the next property, right? If we save you $40,000 like our average tax plan does, that's 1 to 2 more properties that you can put 20% down on and do the same thing, and it continues to build. Right? Now with real estate, I'm gonna solve 2 problems with you real quick before we wrap this video up. Most people, they look at real estate and they say, okay, good, well, what about when I need to sell? You're never gonna need to sell on these. You would never sell, you would never do a 1031 exchange. And the reason being is when you have this HELOC, every time your property appreciates, you just refinance a larger HELOC and borrow out more equity. That loan is tax-free, right? So if a property is cash flowing, if a property is reducing my taxes, if it's appreciating, I got tax benefits on it, why would I ever get rid of it, right? I want to actually borrow against the equity, harvest that, and go do another one. So that gets rid of the problem of sales and capital gains and finding another property and doing a 1031 exchange or all these unique, weird strategies, and it puts you in the position of just being a good buy and hold investor on cash flowing properties. Now, here's 2 tips I'm going to give you. I said at the very beginning of the video. So the first one I want to give you is how to select the properties, okay? So we have a company that we work with called Norada. Okay, and if you're interested in learning more about Norada, we can actually take you through with them on identifying the properties, looking at the cash flow statements, connecting you with an investment counselor, and they're gonna walk you through this entire process, right? So it's turnkey from that standpoint too. I said the property is turnkey, but the experience is too. You're gonna have a team servicing you the whole time, helping you pick the properties, helping you find, you know, title and insurance and everything else. We're gonna get you pre-qualified for the mortgage as well. Like, we do everything to make sure that you get into this and it's truly a passive experience. Okay, now last thing, we've got our boot camp coming up. Okay, it's called In the Arena, and I'm gonna wrap up on this note. If you're watching this, one of our speakers, we just released him. His name's Ivan Ans. Ivan Ans owns a company called Equity and Help. It's one of the greatest real estate investing companies I've ever been a part of. He's also the youngest family office founder in the world right now, and he's gonna be speaking at our event. We've got several other speakers just like him. So if you're a high income earner and you're looking at, okay, how do I grow my business? How do I lower my taxes? How do I get into it? What is a family office? How do I build that? Ivan built one. Maybe he can give you tips as well. Grab your ticket. Okay, if you go to store.jerryfetta.com, you can get a ticket there. It's $99. That's gonna be June 3rd from 1 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's it for today.